Welcome back, episode 2, Sweat, Sauna and Stories. I'm really excited today because I think this might be the biggest ever guest that I can get on here. We're down here, One Vigor, the home of the saying dialed in. Why am I telling you about dialed in? Because it's really important to be dialed in. I've just recently dialed back in to Mission Possible after last week. You know why we're doing that? Now it's time to get going. But let's introduce to my very special guest. Why is it a very special guest? Because I don't think I can get anyone on bigger to me than this. This person, we're going to delve deep, not just into them, but you're also going to probably find some stuff out about me that you'd never find out on any other podcast. So let's go. My podcast guest this week is...
Me!
And who is me?
Aubrey, I'm your daughter.
So people might be wondering why I've got my daughter on. I'm trying to get a guest on who are into fitness, into saunaing, into good habits, and contrary to belief, you might only be a 10-year-old girl, but you're into all that, aren't you?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your little fitness journey you've been on.
Well, I do CrossFit, running, gymnastics, and football. And a couple of months ago, or something, I think it was like maybe in October, I did a CrossFit competition, and I think I came fourth with my partner Eden, out of 10.
So we're going to talk about all sorts of things today, because you do CrossFit, you do gymnastics, you found running, which will be surprising so many times to people when we start telling them some distances you've run at just 9 and then 10-year-old. But we're on bike now, we're warmed up I think. Yeah. You're going to take me through one of your CrossFit workouts, you've already all planned it.
Yeah.
We're rolling unedited here, so we're just going to fly into the next thing, you're going to get us set up. So we're going to do a workout that you've come up with, I'm going to start getting some of the stuff out. You tell everyone what you've come up with and why we're doing it.
So when I did my competition in October or something, I did my first workout was 8-6-4-2. But since I'm 10, we're going to do 10 8-6-4-2. So you do 10 shuttle runs, 10 snatches, and then 10 burpees over bar, and then keep doing that in the same order for 10 times, 8 times, 6 times, 4 times, or 2 titimes.
We'll work out. Oh, you got your bar ready then? Tell us about all these, what we're doing here. So we'll use this bar.
Well, we're doing snatches.
You have to show me how to do a snatch, because I don't even know how to do it. Show us a snatch, and then we'll run through workout, and then we can get going. Perfect. Don't think I can do that. So what, we're going front floor?
Yeah, and then you go straight up.
Up. That's one, yeah?
Yeah.
And then down and up.
Yeah.
So we're doing 10 shuttle runs, 10 squats, 10 snatches, 10 burpee over bar. 8, 6, 4, 2.
Yeah.
We're going to rattle through it, then we'll have a bit of a chat while we do it, yeah? Yeah. Aubrey, one thing I think would be interesting for people to think about you, even though you're 10-year-old, is you're actually really competitive, aren't you?
Yeah.
And I imagine that you're not going to go easy on me here, are you?
No.
Before we get going, people have a theory about letting your kids win and that, but I've now just got myself in a situation where Aubrey's older brother has actually started beating me at things like 5k runs, so I'm taking no prisoners, because there's going to come a day, probably not in a too distant future, where you're going to whoop my butt, aren't you?
Yeah.
Mark, set, go. So we did his warm up, and then you just put me through a bit of a grueling workout. The whole idea is sweat, sauna, which we're going to do next, and stories, which we'll tell lots of. I'm definitely sweating, I think you are, and if you're not, now you are. Right?
Yeah.
So, tell us the inspiration behind that little workout.
Well, it's a CrossFit, and I came fourth there, and I just wanted to do it again. The only bad bit about that was I did the workout, I did the CrossFit competition with a 5 kg bar, that was with a 15 kg bar.
Yeah, that was monstrous, and I'll be honest with you, I couldn't keep up with you on them runs. You have got rapid, haven't you? So tell us a little bit about your running journey, because I have got lots of little stories of your running journey, but I want to see what you remember about running, because there'll be a lot of people listening, and what you've got to think of when you're on something like this. A lot of people listening who are sat at home now, thinking about a bit of motivation to run. And last week we had free time Ironman Johnny. That might seem too far for people, but here is a 10-year-old girl who probably 18 months ago wasn't really into running, didn't want to do it, and here you are now doing some of the things that you're doing, which is phenomenal. So do you want to just tell people about your bit of a running journey?
Well, through my whole life, I've never started running. But when my dad was on about the 10k
And his man
club race, I said to him, "Oh, can I do it?" And he said, "Sure." I don't think he believed I could do it because I'd never run anything before that. So I don't think he believed in me. So he ran with me, and I ended up finishing it in 1 hour and 18 minutes. That was last year when I was 9. And then
which we'll stay on that a sec, because when you did that run, it wasn't all smiles, was it?
No.
I got into you a little bit at some points, didn't I?
Yeah.
Because one thing I always think with you, Aubrey, which is good for a lot of people listening, especially if there's any moms or even dads or teenage daughters or teenage sons listening, is you've sometimes had problems with self-confidence, haven't you? Even though athletically you're pretty special. Going to football at one point you struggled with, and on that run I could see there were moments of self-doubt slipping in, whether you believed you could do it, wasn't there? Go on to that now, because people can't see you nodding.
Yeah, well, I didn't believe in myself and I started crying. But a couple of weeks before that, I did a video for everyone doing it. And I was running, there was loads of people coming up to me saying, "Oh yeah, you're so inspirational with that video."
Do you remember what you said on that video?
Not really.
Do you remember the key message about it though, about when it gets tough?
No, it's...
Keep pushing.
Yeah.
Do you remember? And you'd said, didn't you, on that video you'd done to sort of give people a bit of a push, because you knew it was your thing that you were going to do that were going to be real difficult. You'd sort of said, when it gets tough, remember, keep pushing on, something like that. And everyone who come round past, they were saying, weren't they?
Yeah.
And there you was, doubting whether you could get it done. But you kicked on, didn't you? You got it done.
Mm-hmm.
And 118, I think most people would find very respectful for a 9-year-old girl who'd never done more than a couple K run. And then fast forward.
Well, now my 10k time is 58 minutes.
Which is phenomenal. And what about some other running stats? Give us a little bit more on it than just one word answers.
My 2k personal best is, I think, 8 minutes and 34. And my 5k is 25 minutes 07.
And me and you had a bit of a joke last night when we were chatting about training, because you sort of in your head said, I don't really train for these stuff, because that's how you've sort of thought about it. And then what have we done for last year, Thursday mornings at 6 a.m, what have we done on a Sunday? Tell people about some of the effort you've put in when probably other 9-year-olds at that point wouldn't even have thought about being up, and what you were doing.
Normally at 6 o'clock in the morning, before I went to school, me, my dad and sometimes my brother, we all went to go to the track, and they were doing intervals, and I did 1 lap, which is 400 metres run, and then I'd walk half of it, and I just kept doing that. And
because you thought it were, at that point again, there's still a bit of that self-belief, like anyone listening today who doesn't want to think about running, who thinks that they can't. Here's a girl now who's probably going to win cross-country for town. You just did it for North Halifax area, and you've come first by quite a stretch for your age.
I think it's by a rugby pitch.
Yeah, by like a rugby pitch distance you've won. You've just done a 10k, very hilly 10k in 58 minutes. And here you was on a Thursday morning at 6 o'clock, we're tapping you on it in the morning saying, "You sure you want to come?" And you were straight out of bed, weren't you? Saying, "Yeah, I'm there." And you'd run a lap, walk a lap, run a lap, walk a lap, just building yourself up. And now you're dominating, aren't you? And after you're running, you found yourself going to a thing called CrossFit up at PWR, to a kids class. Tell us a little bit about that, what that's done for you.
Well, when I started, I could barely lift 5 kg. And like, I think the strongest I back lifted back then was around maybe 15 kg. And the other week, I think we kept adding weight on, and for the last one, we added on, I think it was 20 kg. So I ended up back squatting 35 kg.
Which is, anyone would say, is phenomenal to say. You probably only weigh 30 kg yourself, don't you? So you're lifting more than your body weight, which at a minute, with as big as your dad is, he definitely couldn't do. Couldn't lift his own body weight. So I've got this big thing that I've always said for years, monkey see, monkey do, you know, and what I mean by that is, and you can see whether you agree with this, because today is meant to be a no edits thing where you can ask what you want when we get in there. So for anyone who's just listening now or don't know the sketch, is we've worked out together, we're going to talk, we're going to go into sauna together because we like doing that. We've done that. Have we done that before?
Bulgaria.
We used to go every night when everyone else went back to the room, didn't we, to get ready. We'd go and have half an hour to 45 minutes in sauna.
To the thing, sauna, and then we'd jump into the pool.
Pool and cool back down, didn't we? And you've done ice baths. Today we're not going to ice bath, but while I'm in ice bath, you're going to ask me 3 minutes of questions, aren't you? Anything she wants as a daughter to a dad, which I don't know if many dads would dare do that in itself, so that's going to be interesting. And I imagine we'll get a little bit deeper on that. But while we're still here, I want to talk about this fitness journey you've been on, because you started off as a girl, not very self-confident. We were originally into football, and that were a very sketchy start to a point where you nearly stopped going because you'd have a bit of a panic before you started playing. And I think last year you won some awards at football.
Well, I think 2 years ago I won most improved because I never went on the pitch, so I have improved. And then I think it was last year I got most sporting, best trainer, and Young Achievers Award.
So for the whole club, that wasn't it, for all cross lists. So, and this isn't about awards, but I think it's just about a journey. So anyone listening right now who's starting at bottom, this is from and I'm using it as a 9-year-old as a good example, because there's a level of immaturity there which is great, and vulnerability, and you started off as someone who didn't dare go on a football pitch at all, to a point you'd have sort of a panic attack, like, I'm not going. So we had to pull you back off, and then me and you got in car one day from Wakefield, and no one's ever forcing you to do any of this stuff, you don't ever have to go, and you know I still want to go. So then eventually you started playing, you found the bug for it properly.
I think the first time I started playing was when we went to that tournament, and I think you said that if I scored, you'd give me 100 quid.
Papa did that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Your Papa. And he did, didn't he?
Yeah, and I think I ended up... I never scored before, I never even went on the pitch. They sent me on a striker, and I think I scored maybe like 3 goals in my first game.
I remember being there with Papa, and you'd said to you that I'll give you 100 quid if you score, and he knew it were a dead cert that you'd never score because you didn't even go on pitch, and you knocked 3 in that day. And I remember him going to me, head in his hands, oh my God. And then since that day, you've not been able to stop scoring, have you? But keep it on this a sec. So then you've gone from that, you've found your confidence now. This is like anyone listening. You've finally gone and just tried something you're a little bit scared of and found actually I'm pretty good at this. Then you've worked your socks off. You've become most improved in a year. Yeah, which has gone from being this person who didn't dare play to someone now who the team admires as someone who's working hard. Then year after, the Young Achievers Award and the other nice awards are all good. But for me, a big thing is best trainer. Because that's a person who's turned up at training no matter what, working the socks off, and I watch you at training, you're always at front of fitness, you're always trying hard, and I think that's really important for not just school life, not just football and sport life, but school life and business life, innit? So a minute ago I mentioned about monkey see, monkey do. Do we force you to do all this stuff?
No.
Tell us a bit why you do it then, because anyone listening might think it sounds a bit obsessive that this 10-year-old girl's doing all this stuff, but talk to me a little bit about it.
Well, I did my running in last year, and then I wanted to start doing more stuff. Like, I've always done gymnastics since I was 5, and I decided to do CrossFit, but I broke my wrist, I displaced it, so I couldn't do many things on it. And then my brother started going. Whenever he'd say, oh yeah, I'm going off to PWR, I just couldn't wait till I could go. And then I finally got it better, and I started going, but I think I got too scared to do all the burpees, so I didn't really do it because I didn't want to hurt my wrist. But eventually I started doing it, and
I think everyone's fitness journey is different, and then I think everyone, whether you're a woman sat at home who's feeling a bit overweight, who's not ready to start, or whether you're someone who's broke the wrist and you're scared of going and injuring yourself, I think there's a good lesson is that you've got to go give something a go, haven't you? You just went and did it adaptive, didn't you? You didn't quite maybe do burpees you built the strength up in your wrist, but you got yourself back into it. And then just last month you went and did your first fitness comp, where out of I think 10 pairs you came 4th with your partner, and you'd never done anything like that CrossFit comp, did you?
No.
So what a journey that's been. So we're going to now wrap up here. We're going to head to the sauna down to Revive. We're going to get into sauna, and then we're going to ask some more personal questions about being a daughter and being a dad and what that's like. And then when I get in ice bath, you can ask me anything. How does that sound? Mm-hmm. Let's go. So we're back down here at Revive for the second part of Sweat, Sauna and Stories. We're going to get sauna and we're going to do our tradition. So Aubrey, let's go. Let's hear that water on there. No. You numpty, put it on there.
I want to do that.
Go on. Come here. Watch. We're locked in the sauna. It's quite hot, isn't it?
Yeah.
A little bit hotter than Bulgaria, you thinking?
No, Bulgaria was like 100 degrees.
I know, but you look like you're struggling here. You ready to get going with this?
I hope so.
Right, let's get going. So we spoke about monkey see, monkey do, and I forgot to actually give the context about it. So what I was saying about that is over the years, I think that you've seen both me and your mum do quite a lot of fitness, and now your brother as well. And I just wanted you to say what impact you think that's had on you.
Well, I think it's had a lot of impact because I think my brother mostly because I think what got me most into running was when he had like a maybe 30-minute park run on Christmas last year, and now he's got I think a 19, and I think that's what inspired me most.
It's inspiring, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hopefully me and your mum have helped inspire you a little bit as well.
A little bit.
Yeah, we'll take that. Because I think that you and Alfie, both of you, sort of, when you came in the IROX over in Manchester, you both got a bit of a buzz for it, didn't you?
Yeah, when I came to watch it, I started doing sled pulls and this like little like practice thing.
So it is contagious then, isn't it, to what you see. You told me something of a night that we've never really spoke about. And we do speak deep a lot, don't we? Usually, and I shouldn't probably tell people this, but because it's more embarrassing for you, but every time I have a hot bath every night, don't I? I've got a little bit of a night routine. I'll tell people my night routine, and you can tell them yours before we go into this story. So every night I like to get either a sauna, where we are now, or I have a hot bath, where I go and unwind and clear my thoughts, and then every night, just as I get in bath, door opens, I need toilet, and then you sit next to me, won't need to go into detail of what you do, but that's where we sit and have our chats, don't we?
Yeah, well, I think my nightly routine is I go upstairs, I brush my teeth, and then I do a page of my BU Kids Journal. Nice
plug there, I like that. That wasn't even planned, but I'll take that.
And then I do 10 or 20 pages of my book.
Yeah, and you've really got into that, haven't you? And I'd like to say that I can take credit for that, but that's something that you've been doing for a while now, where you go upstairs, you read your kids' journal, and I've brought a kids' journal in with us, not for that reason, but just because I know it's been something that's been quite a big part of you, and it's got some good questions in there, and it was some questions. I want to pick a page and ask you some questions, and I thought what we'd start with is the Be Honest page. So this is what you've already done. You fill this in every night, don't you? So I'm going to ask you a question from the BU Kids Journal. That was a very shameless plug. When do you feel brave?
I feel brave when I'm at a CrossFit competition, because me and my friend Eden, who I do it with, we like to make a grand entrance.
And what's the grand entrance all about?
Well, it's just to try and get people hyped up. Like when we did our competition, we got voted best entrance, and all we actually did was run and do a cartwheel, but we was the only one who actually tried hyping the crowd up.
I love that, and it's getting a little bit hot in here today. I think we're up at over 90 degrees, so you're doing well. Saunaing has become a big part of our family's life. We love it, don't we? So I'm going to pass the microphone to you now, before we go in the ice bath anyway, and I'm going to let you ask some questions. I know you had a couple of good questions last night, so you take the mic, and you come up with some questions.
Well, one that I wanted to ask you was, what is your big what if?
That's a big question, that. What's a big what if? What was a regret? And I don't believe anyone who says they don't have any regrets is telling the full truth. I don't really have many regrets, if I am being honest. But one thing, maybe what if, I remember, and when I've thought about this, you've put me on the spot of it, is, I guess the only what if could it have been different is if I wouldn't, when I went to London from Leeds Rhinos, the coach rang me, the current coach at the time, a guy called Brian McLennan, and says, "Luke, no one knows yet, but I'm leaving. I would come back from loan before it gets started." And I said, "Brian, I'm a man of my word. I've already told him I'll come." And he then turned round and says, "Well, you might regret it, but I would. I'm just advising you. I'd come back." Anyway, I stayed, and when I got back to Leeds from London, I never played for Leeds again. So what if could be, what if I'd have stayed there under that new coach? But I won't be doing what I do now, and I love what I do now far more than rugby. So I think we should take a little break from this sauna, do you?
Yeah.
Back for part 2, sauna with a revived coffee, just like last week. We're ready to go. So Aubrey, we're back. It's time to get personal now. I want to ask you, what's it like? What am I like as a dad? And I'll ask you another question in a minute.
Well, you're really good as a dad because
And you can be honest here.
well, you do loads of stuff for me. Like you take me to all these clubs, you pay for them. You come watch like all of my competitions, all of my races, and I'd say that's really nice as a thing as a dad. And you also support me in everything. Like you supported me when I didn't want to go to North Halifax, so I'm really grateful.
You know what? That's really taken me aback, and not many things take me back. So come here. Well, we're a bit sweaty. It's really got me that. I don't know where to go from there. And so I guess the thing is in the BU Adult Journal, another shameless plug, it talks about your wins, but it also talks about what you could improve. So I know I'm not perfect, and I'm always trying to strive as a dad. It's a big thing for me being a dad. What is something that I could improve on?
Well, I can't really think of it on the top of my mind, but I can't really think of it on the top of my mind.
Well, I'll take that. So I know you had a question for me that you wanted to ask, didn't you?
Yeah. What was your childhood like?
Great question. And I'm going to be asking you that same question on the way back. What's your childhood been like? So get ready for this. But let me think. I think sometimes when you do what I do, storytelling, you have to make it relatable to those listening. So you talk more about the hardships because you try to break down stigmas. So talk about Nana's car crash. I talk about being overweight and having a hard time at school. But I actually had a phenomenal childhood. I got to do everything that I'm trying to get you guys to do. I went to loads of clubs. I did lots of sports, even though I was a big kid. Papa and Nana were really good at getting me into doing different clubs. So rugby was obviously a big one for me. I used to go to different sports clubs. But do you know what? I remember adventure, and Nana were really good at doing little educational stuff and playing games with us. Papa were big on just chucking us in car and taking us over to say Blackpool. This might sound familiar, just getting us on his rollerblades, and who does that sound like on a Friday? Right, let's just go camping, so that's sort of what I had as a childhood that I really loved. I love the fact of adventure. I love the fact of all the good. There were probably, if I were being honest, a small part of it that were you could say traumatic. Nana's car crash and having a hard time at school, and Papa and Grandma separating. And people have already heard that, but actually over the whole, I think there's a bit of a lesson here for everyone that we often focus in on the bigger, more singular events rather than actually looking at the generic larger picture, which was as a whole. As a child, I had a phenomenal childhood. I played out all the time. I lived a very good life. Obviously, I got brought up in 2 separate houses, and at both of them I had a lot of freedom, so I'd play out a lot, I'd have friends around a lot. I lived a very social life in that side, so you know what, Aubrey, I had a good childhood. I'm going to pass it back to you because it's interesting for a dad to hear what's good about your childhood and what would you like to be better, or what could be different.
Well, I think my childhood is really great because I've got all these like good clubs, and I think with school I'm really social at school, and I think it's just a really like good childhood. And you always take me camping, holidays, and I think that just makes my childhood even the more better.
One thing I want to challenge you back on there is I'd say that I'm probably a bit strict. I know we're getting a bit hot, so we'll have another part, but another break here. But I want you just to tell me about whether me and your mum, because we're a joint parenting, whether we are a bit strict and what sort of stuff are we strict on, but whether you actually like it or not and what we could do different there, because I think we don't often ask as kids these type of questions enough.
I think you're more strict on like the health and like technology and that. That's all you're really strict on.
In what sense? Give context.
Like you're pretty strict with like phones, and I don't think you'll let me have a phone until I'm at least 14. And you're not that, and you're strict with unhealthy food. Like I don't think I've had a McDonald's in like 4 years, but I'm alright with that because I don't really mind about all the junk food and everything.
But before anyone thinks that you just live in here on chicken, rice and broccoli, let's be honest, Aubrey.
I have a lot of Nando's and Marlins.
You do eat a fair bit of crap, should we call it. So I think you're ready to have a quick tap out. We're going to have a quick break now. We're going to have another cool down, and we're going to come back in for the final part before we go get an ice bath. Let's go. And we're back for part 3 of the sauna. I had to have a couple of tap outs there because it's hot in here today, innit? And you are only 10-year-old. I'm going to be honest, Aubrey, I don't think I'm going to get a better guest. It's been an absolute honour to have you on. I know we're not finished yet, and I know we've got plenty more questions to talk about. One thing I wanted to talk about is we talked a lot about the past, we talked a lot about the present, and you've been really nice to me as a dad. That's been really nice for me to hear that we're getting some stuff right. Question I've got for you is what's your fitness goals or your life goals? And I don't want to ask you what you want to be when you're older, because I hope that changes constantly, and I hope that as you grow older you try different things, you set up a business, you work somewhere, you just try all different things till you find your passion. So what I want you to know, what I want to know is as your dad, is what some life goals and some fitness goals?
Well, some fitness goals is my 2K park run. I want to get sub 8 minutes and sub 8:30.
Big.
And in my 10K, well, I think I've done really good, but I want to get sub 55.
Big. I think you can do that easily.
And, well...
What about life?
For life, one of my goals... Well, one of my goals is that, like, I want to be successful in business.
Right, so that's an interesting one, so we can dive deeper into that. When you say successful in business, what does that look like to you?
Well, it means that, like, a big, community, like, society.
Yeah.
And, well, and I want to do something like you do, you know, like a big society, and, like, ambulance training and just fan club.
I love that. That's really. Is that what you want to do? For what reason?
I don't know. It's just seen you over the years doing this fan club, and this year doing ambulance training. I don't know. I just like. I don't know. It's just really inspired me.
Oh, Aubrey, you're gonna make me cry, genuinely.
Please don't.
It's actually got me, that one. If anyone don't know, my life is a bit chaotic, innit? I have Andy's Man Club, which I'm voluntary CEO of, and that's took up a lot of Daddy's time on it. And then now I've been running a company for 10 years called Ambler Training, where we deliver wellbeing interventions, and we're going to schools, and I've been into Aubrey's class and give them some kids' journals, and it's sort of, Aubrey, to hear that you want to do something similar and help people in whatever capacity that is and create a community. That's inspiring for me to keep doing what I do. I want to just talk about goal setting a minute, and we're going to wrap this sauna up, because I know that you wrote some goals down without me even telling you. You did it last year, and I think you ticked most of them off, and you've done it this year. Tell people some goals that you wrote down at the beginning of this year and whether they've been achieved or not, and be honest on them all.
Well, one of my goals was to do a sub for 30-minute 5K. I've done that one.
What did you do?
I got a 25:07 5K. And 10K I want to get sub hour and 15. But when everyone was telling me that I could do it, I crossed that out and said sub hour. And now I've got 58 minutes.
So there's real power in writing goals down, working towards them and achieving them. Would you agree?
Yeah, but however, I did... One of my other goals was to do the 3 Yorkshire Peaks in 12 hours one day, but I didn't do it.
And that's another good example of knowing your imagination versus your current capabilities. So you have been practicing your running, and you wrote some goals and achieved them, and then you wrote this goal down to do the Yorkshire 3 Peaks, and this is for anyone listening who's setting big goals, is that you'd set this big goal, I want to do Yorkshire 3 Peaks trial. You really had no substance why, you just sort of wanted to do it. And then when you went and did one at 3 Peaks, again, because you've done them quite a lot now, haven't you? You realise that actually, do I want to, at this stage in my life, be walking around for 12 hours solid? Do I know a big purpose there for that? And you said to me, you went, I don't want to do that goal anymore. And I think there's a point in that sometimes, you know, we say about seeing stuff through, and I'm big on that. If you say you're going to do something, go see it through. But you'd made that up. You just sort of come up with that, and I think it was one end where we're like, do you really need to go do that?
Yeah.
Probably not. So, speaking of goals, Aubrey, I'm going to finish this off with telling you some of mine, if that's all right. My life goal is to, big one I've always had is to be the best dad possible, and I think you only find that out, not through your words, but through your actions, and I love what you're about at the minute, as with your brother Alfie and your sister Ada. And one of the goals I've got fitness-wise is to see what I'm possible of and capable of, is to do the Mission Possible, which today's the day I've started training. We're dialing it in, we're stripping back on the food, we're going to get some weight loss, going to get some real good habits, and we're going to go and attack that. So, Aubrey, it's been an absolute honour. Probably, I don't think I'll ever get an experience like this quite again with a guest. Fist pump, love you. Let's get in that ice bath.
So we're going to do rock, paper, scissors, so you get to pick which one it goes in. Right.
Best of three. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. 1-0 you. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, you've won. You've won. Right. I'm in the 6, I'm in the 4, I'm in the 2.
Number 2.
Number 2. There we go. We're in the 2. Ask me anything.
Alright. So one of the questions was, if you could go back to 5 years and give yourself some advice, what would it be?
Big question. These are going to be deep. These are going to be hard for 3 minutes. Go back 5 years. So 5 years that have put me at 29. I think it's just the same thing all the time, that everything works out exactly as it's meant to. Whether that's 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. There's a saying in BU Journal that life's not what happens. No, it's not what happens to you. It's how you respond to what happens that matters. And I think that's the truth. So I think 5 years ago, I never thought to be running Andy's Man Club, running a business, having 2 beautiful daughters and a stepson, and being where we are now. So yeah, just trust the process.
What's something you wanted to happen recently that didn't go to plan?
Oh, great question. I don't want to cop out of that one. Oh, I'll tell you one, is diet and training, if I'm being honest. I keep getting back to diet and training, and today's the day that we're dialing it in properly, and we've stuck to that. Life's been chaotic, it's been busy this year since April. We've grown from a small little company to 9 staff, and I just seem to have a minute spare, so prioritising training and diet is something that I'd like to change, which we're going to do for Leading for Mission Possible.
If you could go back to any day, for one day, and change something, when would you go back to?
Deep. I think it'd have to be the day Uncle Andy were at our house, and he was telling us a few things that at the time he was sort of having a joke about it, but now looking back, he was probably in his way offloading about it, and I probably sort of, knowing what I know now, sat him down and says, it's all going to be alright, stick through. That's probably the one day I'd change. How long have we got left?
1 minute and 5 seconds.
Come on then. It's getting toasty.
What would you like to happen in the future?
I'd like to keep inspiring. I'd like to see you, as you've just said in that podcast, come involved with Ambler training and keep trying to encourage people to be themselves. The BU message is we're going to be growing that brand a lot more, because I think it's really important that in this day and age, in this social media age, that people are more comfortable being themselves than ever before. That's why I'm here with my dog's body out in here now, not trying to perfect it, try to be as real and raw as possible. Encourage people like you to be yourself, be confident. So that's all I want for the future.
If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be and why?
Great question. I don't know, because I think every flaw I've got has some sort of benefit. So one thing that I've always struggled with, and I don't mind telling people this, I've never told anyone this publicly, I have a birthmark on my face I was born with, big blue mark, and sometimes that was difficult growing up with it at times on photos, so maybe I'd change that, but then again, we should embrace those flaws, not try to change them.
You've done.
And on that note, we're out. I don't think any podcast will top that for me. We got really deep, we talked about stuff we don't usually talk about. Every night at our house, when we do have tea together, we sit round, don't we, when we're all there, and we ask, what's been best part of your day? We nominate someone, something special, and we sort of always done this questioning stuff. But to sit one-to-one with my daughter today, after doing a training session together, sauna, some stuff with it, it's been absolutely phenomenal. I'd encourage any parent to try and get that time where you just sit and actually ask these questions. I guess, Aubrey, how's it been for you?
The workout was hard, but I like all the conversation and all the questions.
What have you taken from it today?
I've probably taken that, like, hearing all your childhood now, you wouldn't want to go back, probably, just to live a good life.
I love that. And Aubrey, thanks for being my favourite guest. I love you. Hope you enjoyed that. It was definitely something different. The idea of this podcast or vlogcast is to do something different. I'll be bringing on lots of different guests from sporting background, my own family, not just to learn about them, but to learn more about me, to learn more about yourself. I hope this vlogcast, I keep forgetting to say that, today has taught you lots of different things, from parenting to childhood, and even maybe how to increase some of your child's self-confidence and self-belief. On that note, I'm going to go in there where you can't come. Tune in next week. Make sure you like, subscribe, and all the other stuff that those YouTubers say. I'm off in here now. That's somewhere you can't come. That's something that's personal to me. Goodbye.